Hi, I'm Eric Williams, Superintendent of the Loudoun County Public Schools. Class of 2020, we see you and we are impressed. You should be proud of your accomplishments. And so, on behalf of the Loudoun County Public Schools, I want you to know that we join you in celebrating those accomplishments. Congratulations.
The class of 2020 has always said that our vision is 2020. And you've got to admit that's been a pretty good theme for us. You know, until something happened that none of us could have seen coming. There's no way around the fact that COVID-19 has affected us, as a school, as a class, and as individuals. It's so easy to take for granted the time that we've had together, to get caught up in the fact that our time was cut short. I know I'm not the only one who has said if I had only known that that Wednesday was going to be our last, followed by a list of things I would have done differently. Hindsight really is 2020, isn't it? It's funny how we get caught up in our expectations of things when we know that the reality of it is going to be different. But then again, what is reality but the way we interpret it? While what's happening with coronavirus is definitely impacting us, it doesn't have to define us. What if, instead of mourning our senior year, focus to celebrate the memories we did get to make? The class of 2020 is so much more than puns about vision or a virus that ended the year sooner than it should have. Our class is the energy at Friday night football games, the chaos and competitiveness of homecoming week, and sleep-deprived excitement at 4 a.m. pep rallies. But above all else, it's the relationships that we've built with one another. These are the things that make us. It isn't the amount of time, it's the quality. Even though it feels like our time has been cut short, we're stronger now than we've ever been. We do not have caps and gowns and a stage to walk across yet, but we do have an understanding community that has continuously supported us through this time. We have teachers who are continuing to ensure that we get a quality education despite the fact that they're dealing with their own situations. We have coaches, parents, advisors who are continuing to push us to pursue our passions. Most importantly, that we have each other. The distance hasn't made us any less social. We're continuing to stay in calls and Google Meets. We're bonding through video games and Netflix parties, and maybe one too many TikToks. The best piece of advice I've ever received was actually given to me by one of our SCA advisors, Mr. King. You. Celebrate yourself in every way. Your successes and failures, good days and bad days, and flaws. The class of 2020 has two options. Either we can wallow in hindsight, or celebrate ourselves. No, this isn't the senior year we expected, but it's so important to celebrate what it has become. Despite the global pandemic, the saying still stands. Not, the choice is yours. Thank you.
Freedom High School students.
Hey, Keith.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can understand you. And we're at home.
Is it safe?
Yeah, it's safe.
Welcome, Freedom High School 2020 graduates. Watching this ceremony right now are the future CEOs and business leaders, our future doctors, military workers, police officers, lawyers, and parents that will raise the next generation. Watching this right now are the future leaders of the country. Let's make it the best it can be. I want to thank Dr. Fulton and the Freedom High School staff. They did a great job preparing this day. I'm excited. This is the first time that every student got to create their own personalized slide that's shared with everybody watching the ceremony. Never in the history of Freedom High School have graduates been able to join the graduation ceremony and their friends and family in the same house. In an effort to remind all of you Eagles what it felt like when you were in school, way back when you were in school, I have two things I need to start off with. Number one, there may be a summative, maybe a formative, maybe a summative, maybe cumulative, but pay attention. Number two, put your phones down. Zach, Sarah, Lexi, that means you too. All right, you remember what it feels like to be in school? There, now you remember. Freedom graduates, man, do I want to be speaking in front of you all instead of this stupid screen. You deserve it. I want to look at your smiling faces and feel your energy. I want to shake your hands, look you in the eye, and give many of you a hug. I guess that would have to be with rubber gloves and maybe an air high five. But nonetheless, you deserve to be celebrated. You deserve to be celebrated. You made it. Everything about your graduation has been different, maybe less formal, or maybe just completely turned upside down. But don't lose the value of your accomplishment. You know what? Speaking of less formal, I need to take care of something. There, that's better. Although we celebrate graduation with caps, gowns, parties, and diplomas, graduation is a accomplishment that marks your success. Graduation shows that you were able to grind and make it through stressful situations, both academic and social. Just think of the pain and suffering that you had to go through to endure and come out a 2020 Freedom High School graduate. Do you remember what you went through to get here? Do you remember geometry, trig, English papers, research papers, weather patterns, sewing pillows, SOLs, PT, PSATs, SATs, APs exams, all of it. Do you remember the pacer? And here you are. You came out on top. I feel so honored to be talking to you all. When Chloe Shepard and Dr. Fulton told me that the student council wanted me to make this speech, I was shocked, honored, and most of all, I took it very seriously. Why would they ask me? Who am I? Am I even qualified for this? But slowly my confidence began to rise because I know I have a positive message for you. And I know if you accept it, it's going to give you an advantage. The way I see it is I have 3 jobs here today. Number 1 is easy, tell you how awesome you are, and you are awesome. Number 2, give you some tips on how to make it in this crazy world. And number 3, finally, encourage you to tackle life. My name is Keith Hample, aka Mr. Hample. I've had the privilege of meeting, laughing, and shaking more than half of your hands. Whether I was your 6th grade teacher at JML, or if I led your club, or trained you for football, or just gave you a few starbursts and high fives, I have the honor of meeting many of you. Let's get started on how awesome you are. You've grown from being scared to death to the first day of school to a graduate. Do you remember walking in freedom on the first day? It probably felt like you were arriving at the mysterious Hogwarts, and you wondered if you would ever figure out the Freedom High School. But as you learned the hallways and how you navigate high school, you also started to learn how you navigate life and all of its ups and downs and in-betweens. Dreams were followed, friends were made, and goals achieved. Now look at you. You've come a long way. The next page of your book, the next chapter of your life is about to begin. Here is the good news. This chapter is starting strong. The lead character is you. You're smart, talented, and funny. Not to mention, you can also probably do the best TikToks of any graduating class in the history of freedom. You are ready for the future. You should be proud. Your parents, teachers, and friends have full confidence in you, and we can't wait to see where the pages of your book take you. Now let's get to the good stuff. I have a few keys of success for you. I want to give you my message, and the message means a lot to me. These are cliff notes or cheat codes or cut and pastes that can help you with your inevitable success. I only said cheat codes to keep Kevin interested. It's a gaming term. These codes have certainly helped me become an award-winning teacher and to get a new pizza venture off the ground. Moreover, these tips made me a better husband, father, and man. Be open and kind and respect others. Work hard and have some fun along the way. You are faced with unlimited opportunities and potential. I mean it. If your parents, grandparents, aunts, or uncles could go back and have limitless opportunities, trust me, we would all go. You have a gift of youth and life. You can do whatever you want. The keys to success is not some complex or sophisticated question. It's actually exactly what your parents, grandparents, family members, and friends have been teaching us since the beginning of time. Be open, kind, and respectful to others. Work hard. Don't be afraid of failure, and have some fun along the way. Let's get started with being open and kind. Right now, in this day and age, this is the one I want to spend the most time on. This is the one that we need to emphasize the most. In your future, you're always going to be relying on other people and teammates in some way. The quicker you learn how to motivate team members, the quicker you're going to become a leader. In my life, I've led sports teams, projects, social clubs, classrooms, teachers, English departments, and now 3 small businesses. I've learned that motivating others is no mystery either. Just be open, kind, and honest. When you're open, you actually listen to people. This means that you don't prejudge or assume that you already know everything that they have to say. This means that you value people. This means that you're above the stereotypes. Being open is not talking over and yelling at someone. Being honest includes telling people the truth or having courageous conversations with people even when it's easier just to ignore it. Let me give you an example how being closed and open hurt me and helped me succeed. I taught in Baltimore for 8 years before coming to Loudoun County, and despite the vast differences in demographics and the struggles the urban setting brought, motivating these people were no different than motivating anybody else. My first year of teaching, I was closed. I wasn't open to the people around me, and my students faced many challenges. This was a recipe for disaster. These students were angry at the world, their circumstances, and most certainly me. I had a police officer and a crisis counselor assigned to my room. They were used on a daily basis. The students in this class never came out. The teachers changed. These students needed something. I knew what these students need, so I formed a plan. I sat at home night after night formulating lesson plans to help close the gap and to get these kids back on track. I cared. I held them accountable for missing assignments, failing grades, projects. Guess what? They hated me. Once again, I failed. They never did one homework assignment or served one detention. I think it was Eric, a 16-year-old 8th grader, that pitched his heavy textbook into the back of my head. I think that's when I started to realize that these kids might need more than reading and writing. Or maybe it was when I described this event to my administration team. I remember, I was up at the top of the board and I was diagramming sentences, and Eric, what an idiot I was. I was closed. I never took the time to connect with these kids. I prejudged what they knew. I never gained their trust, or they never gave me anything in return. No wonder he threw a book at me. He was hungry and exhausted from his life circumstances. He could barely read, and I'm teaching him diagramming sentences. Luckily, I had the rest of the year to be open and to learn from my mistakes and failures, to gain them back. Despite the curriculum, I literally quit teaching that year. I gave these kids what they needed. It wasn't until I was open that they started to accept me and respond to me. I was honest with them and they were honest with me back. This taught me a great lesson. Most importantly, they shared their weaknesses with me. And as a teacher, that allowed me to get back to teaching. I only got what I wanted after I opened my eyes, shut my mouth, and paid attention to what they actually needed. Here's my message to you. Gain people's attention through intelligence and positivity. And once you have their attention, use it for good. Being open is not only learning, but learning from others' mistakes so that you don't repeat them. If you do this, you'll be ahead of your competition. One of the reasons my success has been so great is that I can get the best out of the people around me simply by listening, caring about what they have to say. It's okay if they're different. Everyone has value. It's not always easy to find the value, but once you find it, it's gold. When you're closed, you will not find the gold and no ground is gained. And let me tell you, you have some work to do here. My generation seems to be extremely angry at others' viewpoints. Just recently, I was listening to 3 young adults, 3 of you, Freedom High School students, whispering about the current state of affairs. They were very insightful and educated comments about current events. When I asked them why they were whispering, they responded that they were afraid to talk about politics or news events due to fear of judgment and being screamed at. She leaned into me and said, "Mr. Hample, people are crazy." Whoa, this is a message. When you stop yelling and listen, things get better quick. You have the opportunity to change this. The second key is also common sense. Work hard. Success is hard work. I like to use the term grind. I want you to know that no one is good at anything the first time they try it. You can always get better at everything. The first year of anything is tough. High school, college, your job, teaching. I worked hard to be a successful teacher in this area, and I'm still working hard to get a 3rd restaurant up and running within 1 year. To get a new business up and running, my colleagues and I work around the clock. Some days I wake up and make dough balls and close and wash dishes 13 hours later. This is what it takes. Hard work. My advice is keep grinding. Keep working hard and learning everything you can from the people around you. I would have never been nominated for any teacher awards if it was not for the people around me. Soak up everything. My teammates deserve all of the accolades that I've ever received. Other people have taught me everything I know. Even today, I could not be successful without the people around me. Hard work will lead to experiences and knowledge, which ultimately builds your confidence. When you have experience and knowledge, it equals confidence. The more you know about something, the more confident you will become. It's a process, and that's just how it works. Now, the next word, grit. I love this word. I personally associate this with dusting yourself off and getting back into the ring. Whether it's in the classroom, boardroom, playing field, or gallery, the ability to strive for better results will catapult you to the top. Grit is the voice inside of you that says, "I failed this time, but I'll get it next time. I'm not quitting." It's sort of a self-confidence. I watched my parents, Sally and George Hample, fight through some hard times. I grew up watching my parents fight to make a better life for my brother and I. They never gave up despite layoffs, my dad starting a new business, the 80s and recessions, long commutes to work. My parents were gritty. They are how I learned what true grit really is. I think everybody has grit, and you need to find it. Grit wins in the end. My son Ryder was born with severe clubfoot, to the point where the bottom of his feet were faced up. The full details of what has gone through and extensive is gruesome in these 5 years. He's had 6 major surgeries. His feet have been completely reconstructed. The kid has grit. He's taught me more about this than anyone else. You should have seen him crawling and trying to walk despite the challenges he faced. He absolutely refused to stop trying. He figured out how to walk and climb stairs in full-length casts with 2 broken feet held together by pins and screws. In between his 4th and 5th surgery, his sister had entered a running race. He wanted to enter. We had to explain to him that this may be difficult due to his feet. He didn't let it stop him. That pushed him to want it even more, and because of his grit and refusal to give up, he entered the race, somehow came in 1st place. Grit wins. I don't want to take credit for this concept. A psychologist at the American academic, Angela Lee Duckworth, has studied grit. I want to share the results with you because they're extremely important. In her study, hard work and grit outperforms intelligence every time. This study shows that intelligence isn't fixed. You can always get better. That means you don't have to be extremely smart in order to succeed. Hard work outdoes intelligence every time. If you put in the effort, you'll get the results. She is amazing. I highly recommend you check out her TED Talk. Grit is in every one of you. You need to find it, embrace it, and knuckle up. Failing. Failing is also a part of success. I believe that to my core. Will Smith talks about failing often and failing forward. I love this idea. You will never be successful without failure. You should definitely Google Will Smith's talk on failing first, failing often, and failing forward. This reminds me of you guys. Music, arts, sports, life. How many times did you have to play that song before you got it right? How many rehearsals did it take before the play was correct? How many times have you missed that throw or shot? Okay, boys, how many times have you played Fortnite before you won? When you work hard, you grow. You gain confidence and respect others. As Winston Churchill stated, success is never final and failure is never fatal. It's the courage that counts. Lastly, quickly, self-discipline. Starting today, you're off to be an adult. Make choices that benefit you. Have self-discipline to get up and go to class or work. Schedule your papers and exams, complete long-time reading assignments, and start making new friend circles. Don't let your parents be your self-discipline. Take responsibility for yourself and your actions. Don't have your parents call your bosses or professors. You should be the mediator of your life. To close the keys to success, I want to restate my thesis, and you all better know what a thesis statement is. I taught it to you in 6th grade. The answer is no puzzle. Be kind and open to others, and you will win in the end. Gain people's attention through intelligence and positivity, and once you have their attention, treasure it, and use it for good. Work hard. People respect hard workers. Don't be afraid of failure. Get in the face of failure. Failure is part of success. Don't give up too soon. Have some grit or gumption and try again. Laugh at yourself. And laugh with, not at, others. Last part is the encouragement. Your graduation will be marked as one of the most unforgettable years of your life, not only because of what's happening, and you know what I mean, but because you've earned the title of graduate. This will be memorable because you fought hard to get here. It's memorable because you gained lifelong friends at Freedom High School. Some of your best memories will come from this time of your life. You are all capable of astounding things. As an English teacher, I could push you as hard as I wanted. And no matter what, you came out on top. Just like then, I see very motivated young adults ready to attack the world. You must have heard other generations say things like, kids these days, I'll tell you, if they're in charge of our future, we're in trouble. Let me tell you something. I have always answered them the same way. I've watched thousands of you become young adults, and if you're in charge of our future, we are in good hands. You are some of the brightest, most talented people I've ever met. I've been so fortunate to teach in South Riding. This is a fantastic community with great family morals and beautiful diversity. South Riding has also taught me so many things about humanity, technology, cultural celebration, and the positive impact of truly loving parents can have on a student. You guys are going to have the brightest future. I can't wait to watch it. The last thing I need to tell you is one of the most important. Have fun along the way. Don't take yourself too seriously. If you take yourself too seriously, you're definitely missing out. Okay? Congratulations. Class of 2020, you're now starting the next chapter of your life.
Good afternoon and welcome, parents, siblings, relatives, friends, and most notably, graduates of the class of 2020. Thank you for taking the time to recognize our incredible Freedom seniors. Class of 2020, I can honestly say that during the last quarter of your senior year, your average academic work was equal to about every other senior class that came before you. Yes, you had a historic end to your senior year, and yes, you lost opportunities to play a spring season, perform in a concert, act in a play, attend a prom, hang out with friends at school, and hug your teachers. You also missed out questioning of, why am I doing this in May? Will this really matter? A 3-hour AP test, that some kind of exotic torture? Why does the principal say good morning? It's 9:30, and it's hard enough that I had to get up. I had to think about showering, and I brushed my teeth. Wait, did I brush my teeth? Oh boy, I hope someone has gum in first period. Wait, is this an A day? The fact is that while you and many can focus on what you miss, you can also realize what you gain. A sacrifice is defined as the act of giving up something that you want to keep, especially in order to get or do something else to help someone. Your sacrifice, while not always visible to you, was done with purpose and intent. Your sacrifice saved lives. But it would not be a sacrifice unless you gave up something that you value. And as I heard from many of you, you valued and appreciated the opportunity to come to school. More than any other class in American history, you learned what is often taken for granted. It is said that the children of the Depression learned to value a dime. The young who fought in World War II learned the importance of brotherhood, sisterhood, and teamwork. Those of us who were in positions of responsibility during 9/11 learn to be more aware and attentive of our surroundings. Each of these generations carried or continued to carry those lessons of a major event that impacted their lives. The lessons that you learned from this global event have yet to be defined, because you will be among the generation that will define them. And just as you were the first class in which the graduates were born after 9/11, future generations may not have a similar experience. What you learn from this lesson belongs to your generation. So let's not focus on what you missed. Many before lost their senior season, their last concert, their last semester, their graduation from injury or illness. Your sacrifice was a community effort. You have strength, and that the challenges that you face were shared by a group of your peers. It is your shared experience that will build a collective strength, a community of understanding. Your behavior, your attitudes, and your ability will demonstrate an understanding compassion that goes beyond others. Let me tell you a little bit about this road. I, late in life, decided I wanted to get another degree, a doctorate degree. And I was reminded of this during one graduation when I looked over and said, that's a really cool robe. But it's not just the fact that the robe had stripes, it's what it stood for. So I worked and spent 3 years getting that doctorate degree while I was principal here at Freedom High School. 3 years while you were here. I completed my work last August, but as fate would have it, I wasn't set to graduate until this past May. So my first opportunity to wear this robe was passed on May 15th because a virtual celebration was held at the College of William & Mary. My second opportunity has also been passed, although I still may get that chance later this summer. But it's not the robe that's important. And I'm going to tell you, while you were out of school, the world did not pass you by. Most successful businesses are started by people in their 40s and 50s. Most Nobel Prize winners are well past 50 years old. And often you've heard from others that the young will change the world and we have to rely on the young. Well, you have time. In 4 years, you're going to know a lot more than you do now. In 10 years, you'll be even brighter. When you reach your parents' age, you'll finally realize how intelligent your parents are now. Trust me, I've heard how the youth will change the world for over 30 years, and as we know, there are still things that need changing, still things to invent, still businesses to start, still people to help, and still worlds to discover. You just may be better prepared than other classes because of your experience. Now do me a favor, you're going to enjoy the rest of the ceremony, but hit pause for a second and make sure you have your cap and tassel ready for the end. Thank you. I hope I get a chance to do this again later. But just in case, take your cap, put it on your head, put the tassel on the right side. And now, by the power invested in me by the Commonwealth of Virginia and Loudoun County Public Schools, I pronounce you 2020 graduates of Freedom High School. You may now move your tassel.